Well, hi, everybody. Thanks so much for being here today and having me. I'm really excited to talk to you today about apprenticeships. So just a little bit about me and my company to start. So my name is Heather Collins. I am a program manager with AJAC, which, as Carrie mentioned, stands for the Aerospace Joint Apprenticeship Committee. We are a nonprofit that helps provide apprenticeships in advanced manufacturing across Washington State. So today I'm going to be telling you a little bit about, what apprenticeships are, how you can look into apprenticeships, especially in the high school and after high school. And this is kind of another career path that you can consider when you're thinking of what you want to do after you graduate. So let's get into it. All right, so let's start with just a brief history of apprenticeship. This could probably be an entire 20-minute discussion on its own, so I'm going to give you like the very shortened version of it. Apprenticeship has been around for centuries. If you haven't heard of it before, apprenticeship, it has historically given people the opportunity to learn a job by practicing it under someone that is an expert craftsman or what's referred to as a journeyman. Apprenticeships have existed in tons of different occupations. Historically, you can see on my slide things like stonemasons, scribes, shipwrights, bakers had apprentices, seamstresses, midwives, all sorts of different occupations. It kind of started in the Middle Ages. And it would give younger people the opportunity to go to work and learn under an expert at that job. So like if you were an apprentice for a baker, you'd go into the bakery, you'd learn what that baker does. They would share with you, kind of what they know about baking until you got trained up to the point that you could run the shop on your own. Interestingly enough, historically, it started with young people. It was about 10 to 15 years old that somebody would start working in an apprenticeship historically. Now that's obviously a lot older. We're not taking 10-year-olds into apprenticeship, but it is cool. And so apprenticeships lasted 2 to 7 years, depending on how hard it was to learn that occupation. And apprenticeship training, it splits between understanding the theory of what you're doing on the job. So there's always some education that comes with that, and then actually getting your hands-on practice with that. And typically apprenticeship, goes with jobs that you have to kind of learn hands-on on the job and get that experience. Upon completing an apprenticeship, a person was called a journeyman, and typically that meant that they could train up the next people. So that's historically, right? What does apprenticeship look like today? It's obviously changed a lot. Like I said, we're not starting apprentices at 10 years old anymore. But apprenticeship has grown a lot over the years. This is a global kind of training opportunity. You'll see this very popular in Europe. There's apprenticeships, in Canada is a really big pusher of apprenticeships. So you see it all over the place. And like I said, typically this starts with jobs where you have to learn hands-on on the job. And as we've kind of learned more about apprenticeship and job training, we've expanded into many industries. So my company, AJAC, focuses on advanced manufacturing, but you might also be able to ask your teachers or your schools about apprenticeships in IT. I know there's some new ones coming out in IT, healthcare. I think I've heard of possibly veterinarian assistant apprenticeships coming online. So there's lots of new industries that you can look into where you have the opportunity to learn on the job and learn at school as well. We continue to see more employer support in apprenticeship as well. So for example, AJAC partners with about 300 employers across the state in advanced manufacturing. And then another really cool thing about apprenticeship in the 21st century is that we are able to combine on-the-job training experience with higher education. And I'll talk about that a little bit more later, but what this means is that while you're working on the job and while you're attending classes, we want to give our apprentices the opportunity to earn college credit. And if they would like, pursue a degree, maybe in manufacturing or engineering, or in the case of IT, it could be there. So, a lot of times people think of apprenticeship as an alternative to college. And in the 21st century now, we're focusing on apprenticeship as a way that you can learn on the job and also still go to college. And then AJAC is what's known as an intermediary. So we have kind of a new model of apprenticeship. You might know of apprenticeship in construction as well with the unions. That's another way that you can get into apprenticeship is through the unions. AJAC is an intermediary. We're a nonprofit. We can serve large areas. So in our case right now, we can serve all of Washington. We actually have a few employers in Idaho as well. And we're hoping later to get into the Pacific Northwest. So there's a big capacity for people to join in our intermediary apprenticeships. Just a little bit about AJAC. Like I mentioned, we've been around since 2008, and we are a nonprofit apprenticeship provider. So really our vision is just to create apprenticeships in advanced manufacturing and serve lifelong learning for people who are interested in advanced manufacturing in the 21st century. So if you're listening and you're a student that loves to work with your hands, take things apart and put them back together, or you're an educator who knows someone in your class that likes to do that, apprenticeship is a great opportunity for them, especially if they're interested in advanced manufacturing. And then of course, our mission is always to provide, industry-driven programs and provide opportunities for people to connect to advanced manufacturing through pre-apprenticeship, youth apprenticeship, and adult apprenticeship. We want people to earn competitive and family wages and find meaning and fulfillment in their work and become lifelong learners, right? We can always learn something new. And so we want to provide that opportunity for people. And then today I'll cover just a little bit about pre-apprenticeship and youth apprenticeship as well. So when you think of manufacturing, I like to say we serve all advanced manufacturers in the Pacific Northwest. There's a lot of different things that are made in the Pacific Northwest. Everything we see, or a lot of the things we see, have been produced in a manufacturing facility. So these are just a few of the sub-industries of manufacturing that we work with. So obviously we're called the Aerospace Joint Apprenticeship Committee. So we started here in aerospace and defense. And since then we've expanded quite a bit. So you can see we're in food and beverage, wood and paper, automation and machinery. We're working on getting into transportation and logistics as well, talking to some employers in that area. So there's a lot of opportunities here in Washington that you might not even know of, things that are, manufactured right in our backyard. I was just talking to a medical equipment manufacturer that makes a very small implant for people with brain cancer, so that when they get surgery to, remove the cancer, they can put this little implant in people and it will prevent the cancer from growing again. Made in the Tri-Cities. I mean, there's just some really cool manufacturing going on in Washington. And we're trying to help provide training into all of these different employment opportunities. So what does apprenticeship look like, and where are kind of the different places that you can get involved with us? So there's obviously quite a few different levels that we start at. So right now, and like I've mentioned a lot, we're interested in lifelong learning. So this kind of can progress over someone's life. So right now we're kind of in this level 1 to level 3 area is kind of where we're talking right now, right? I'm helping people become aware of the opportunities in manufacturing. So if this is something you're interested in, you can look at kind of the rest of this image, and there's opportunities all along the way for you to connect with manufacturing, to connect with apprenticeships. So there's CTE courses. If you're a student taking CTE courses, ask your teachers about apprenticeship opportunities or internship opportunities so that you can get connected with employers. There's some great courses in manufacturing and engineering and all sorts of things that you can kind of get started on and see if that's the work that you like. And then what we'll talk about in the next few slides is really this level 3, which we call career preparation in pre-apprenticeship, and in what we call youth apprenticeship, which is the opportunity for you to work at an employer while you're in high school and get college and high school credits for that. So I've talked a lot about apprenticeship, but I really want to get into kind of the meat and potatoes of it. What is apprenticeship, right? So an AJAC apprenticeship, like I mentioned, it combines what we call on-the-job training, which is where our apprentices are working at a local employer and they're learning from someone that has worked in the job a long time and is willing to teach them. And when you look at an apprenticeship program with AJAC, 93% of your time in training is spent on the job, because that's where you're really learning a lot of those valuable skills for your career to progress even further. So 93% of time in apprenticeship is spent on the job. And then the other 7% of apprenticeship is spent in what we call related supplemental instruction, or RSI. And that's the time that our apprentices spend in the classroom. It's really important in apprenticeship that what you're learning in the classroom is relevant to what you're doing on the job. I've had a youth apprentice come up to me before and say, you know, I was sitting in class on Tuesday, you know, he was going to a skills center class, learning about different installation for machinery. And then the very next day when he went to work in the afternoon, he actually used what he learned. So that's what's really important to us and to apprenticeship in general, is that our classes need to be relevant to what you're going to do on the job, because it's all about training you up and helping you become a master in that job position. At the end of an apprenticeship, you get a journey level certificate. All of our apprenticeships are registered, which means that they're recognized by the state of Washington. And so all of our apprentices at the end of their apprenticeship receive a journeyman's card from Labor and Industries. As I mentioned earlier, all of our apprenticeships also include college credits. So each class that a student takes in an AJAC program is 5 college credits. And that allows you to transfer those to a technical school or a university, depending on what you want to do. So if this sounds like something you're interested in and you're like, yes, I love to work with my hands, manufacturing sounds cool, I want to learn more, how do I get involved? There's 3 opportunities, especially for high school students, where you can engage. The first one is called Manufacturing Academy. We call that a pre-apprenticeship program. I'll talk about that. I think it's the next slide. Then if you are currently a sophomore or junior, or an educator with sophomores or juniors, there is also an apprenticeship ready boot camp that we do every summer. That's about 2 weeks long, where we get people certified, talk to them about manufacturing opportunities across the state, 21st century shop skills, all sorts of good stuff. And then up in the North Central area, if you happen to be in the region of the Columbia Basin Technical Skills Center in Moses Lake, we do have a youth apprenticeship opportunity based there as well. So Manufacturing Academy, let me go through all these animations. Sorry, there we go. All right, so Manufacturing Academy is our pre-apprenticeship program that offers a career pathway for anybody who's interested in manufacturing. This I recommend to seniors who are about to graduate, something you can do over the summer. Manufacturing Academy is online about 4 hours a day, so it doesn't really fit into the school schedule. But if you're getting ready to graduate and you're not quite sure what you want to do, or you think, yeah, I'm really interested in manufacturing, but I need some help with the skills, this is a great chance to learn. You can see here all of the skills that you learn in Manufacturing Academy. We do some machining, automation, blueprint reading, precision measurement, and then we get people certified in a bunch of different things like OSHA 10 for safety, CPR, and first aid. Something really cool about Manufacturing Academy is that, yeah, like I said, we offer it virtually. So we have live Zoom lectures taught by an industry professional, and then we actually send all of our students this big box full of fun, like manufacturing projects you get to do, so that you do get some hands-on experience with it. A new program starts every 12 weeks. So like I said, this would be great for a summer program if you really want to get your hands on manufacturing skills. And at the end of Manufacturing Academy, we help connect all of our students to local employers and try to help them get interviews and into the manufacturing industry. And then lastly, like I mentioned, youth apprenticeship is a great way to engage as well, especially for students that are in high school. So at Youth Apprenticeship, you get 15 college credits in classes taught also by industry professionals. Our youth apprentices get 2,000 hours of on-the-job training at a local employer. Right now, this youth apprenticeship opportunity is offered, like I said, at CB Tech in Moses Lake. And so any school districts that feed into that can come into our youth apprenticeship program. while our apprentices are working, they're getting paid. So a lot of times we say with apprenticeship, you get to earn while you learn, right? You're making money while you're learning new skills. It's an awesome opportunity. You get wage progression throughout the whole thing. So about every 1,000 hours that you work, you'll see a little bit of a raise to recognize the skills you're learning on the job and the things you're learning in class. Our youth apprentices do get a journeyman card. And then, like I mentioned before, there's lots of options for the future. I've had apprentices that stay and work at a local employer. I've had apprentices that go to university for engineering. I've had apprentices go into technical school to get more certificates and things like that. So if, like I said, if you're a hands-on learner, you like to take things apart, put them back together, or you like welding, wood shop, things like that, this is a really cool opportunity for you to get some experience at an employer. So those are the best ways to engage with AJAC, I would say, for students. If you have any questions, please let me know in the chat. And then if you want to reach out, I've included my email address here for you.
Heather, that was jam-packed, amazing, awesome information. Thank you.
You're welcome. I know it's hard to put it all into 20 minutes.
Yeah, that's all right. You did very, very well. So let's see. We've got just about 3 minutes. If there are any questions, go ahead and pop those in to the chat, and we'll get those answered for you. And just for fun, Heather, not to put you on the spot, but how many active apprentices are there actually in Moses Lake right now, or in Grant County? Do you know?
Right now, currently active, I think we're around seven active apprentices. Yeah.
Great, great. All right. We have one comment. This is awesome. Thank you, Heather.
Thanks, Tammy.
All right, we've got another one popped up here. Nicole M., thanks so much for putting so much info into your presentation. Awesome.
Yes, I feel like we're notorious for like a fire hose of information at people during our presentation. So please feel free to reach out if you have questions. That's why I included my email address.
Yeah, and the website as well. Ajax website
Yes.
is fabulous. You can dial that in too. So
yes.
Good deal. All right.
All right. I'll stop sharing my screen here. Thank you so much for having me. I'll leave, kind of the last few minutes to get ready for the next presentation then.
All right. Thanks a lot, Heather. We appreciate you coming here.
Thank you. Oh, I just saw a question come through. Sorry. Oh. What ages can you do apprenticeships? This is a great question. So apprenticeship can start with anybody who's 16 or older, so legal working age. And for our youth apprentices, they have to be at least 16. And then honestly, we have apprentices all the way. I have some apprentices in their 50s as well. So it really is lifelong learning.
That's terrific.